beast on his behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound has been healed. In verse 13, and he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven into full view of men. Because of the signs he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants of the earth, and he ordered them to set up the image of honor in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. So this second beast is also called the false prophet, and he's going to have the ability to do incredible miracles, or what seem to be miracles. It will be like somebody from the Stone Age seeing our television, our airplanes, our automobiles, you name it, our modern technology. To him, it would seem like miracles. But in fact, we know it nothing but technology. I don't know if these will be true miracles or if it will be just nothing more than advanced technology that we're not aware of. Regardless, it's going to be enough to even deceive the elect. So we need to be cautious and aware as Christians that whatever happens is going to be so amazing and so convincing that we could easily be deceived. And if we have not been in the Bible, if we've not been studying the Bible, if we're not grounded in the Bible in prophecy, we potentially could be deceived. And remember, Matthew talks about the fact there's going to be a great falling away of Christians when this happens. They're going to be deceived. They're going to want to follow after the beast because he's going to be promising wonderful things. In fact, just like in the days of Nimrod, they're going to be promised that they can become like God. Now, who else would not want to follow them? Who else would not want to become a god? And many of the Christians that are not grounded are going to be deceived. Be warned. In verse 14, because of the signs he was given and power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants of the earth. Most everyone is going to, by the middle of tribulation, is going to believe in whatever they're trying to sell because of all these miracles. He ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. This is called the abomination that causes desolation, mentioned by Jesus in Matthew, as well as Daniel 9:27 and other places. It's going to happen. When it happens, I don't know. It's still years ahead of us, or at least I think it's years ahead of us. But nonetheless, when it does, it's going to cause tremendous havoc. Going on, in Revelation 13:15, he said he was given power to breathe life into the image of the first beast, so that it could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. If you do not worship that image of the first beast, you're going to die. Simple as that. And as a consequence, many people are going to bow down their knee to him. In verse 16, he also forced everyone, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, interestingly, for centuries, scholars have tried to figure out what this could possibly be, because in verse 18 he says, this calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is man's number. His number is 666. The mark of the beast, the infamous 666 that so many people are afraid of. Did you know that it's a real thing? For centuries, as I mentioned, scholars have been trying to figure out what this could mean. They've been trying to ascribe it to different men who, if you turn the alphabetic and numbers, can add up to 666. Henry Kissinger, for instance, his name, if you add it up in the Hebrew, is 666. I really don't think that has a whole lot of water. There may be something to it, but I don't think that's the main thing that John was saying right here as this was revealed to him by God. There is, however, a 666. And Alice Bailey, in her book, The Rays of Initiations, on page 79, and remember, to all call, her ascended master was supposed to have written this through her. She was just automatically writing. She says, to this bright sinner we give the name Shambhala, the component letters of which are numerically S, H, A, M, B, A, L, L, A, are 1.8, 1.4, 0.2, 0.1, 0.3, 0.3.1. And it has both a name and a number, exactly as John has told us in Revelation 13. This word equals the number 24, which in turn equals 6. I would call your attention to the fact that the word has in it 9 letters, And as you know, 9 is the number of initiation. The goal of all initiatory process is to admit mankind into the realization of and the identification with the will or purpose of deity. In other words, she is describing, and she does this much more plainly elsewhere, that man will become as God. The same lie Satan told Eve in the Garden of Eden. The same lie that Nimrod believed in is now being manifest today. Again, 6 being the number of the 6th ray, it is therefore the number of idealism and of that driving force which makes mankind move forward upon the path and in response to the vision and the press upward towards the light. And who's the light? Satan. And Satan will be on planet Earth in the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. So all of this is culminating together. The 666 is the realization of Godhood for mankind. Now, she goes on, page 79 and 80, like all other divine qualities, it has a material counterpart, and that is why 666 is regarded as the number of the beast, or materialism, the number of the dominance of the 3 worlds prior to the process of reorientation and the expression of the developed idealism and purpose. The 3rd aspect expresses itself through pure materialism and is hence the 3 sixes. So she explains away the biblical 366 as just being materialism. Of course, if you remember the first 3.5 years, or much of the first 3.5 years, it's going to be very, very at peace, very prosperous and so forth, and very materialistic. But nonetheless, she explains away the prophetic 666 and makes it into something very positive. Now, if you don't think this is reflecting itself in geopolitics, remember this. Back in 1992, the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro was a culminating effort of decades worth of work to initiate this environmental ethic or this environmental religion into society. Maurice Strong, one of the co-authors of the Earth Charter, was the Secretary General of the Earth Summit in 1992. And he said this upon making his initiatory comments. This is the great invocation which is also found in Rays of Initiations on the prefix of page 7. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forward into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to the earth. Now, when he says that Christ should be returning to the earth, it's not Jesus Christ. It's the avatar Christ. It's the avatar of peace. This is what they're striving for. It has nothing to do with the Savior, Jesus Christ. Going on, from the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. The ascended masters, these spirit masters. Christians would today call them demons. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light, Satan's plan, which is also light, work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. And this is the key. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. The plan is to basically bring mankind into godhood. That's what they intend to do. This is what they believe in. That's what they have been told by their ascended masters in the spirit world. And it was the guiding principle of the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, and ever since that time. Now, at the same time, in 1972, when the Trilateral Commission was being formed by Zbigniew Brzezinski, as well as David Rockefeller, Brzezinski said this. He is the former National Security Advisor to President Carter, so he had a very powerful position. He says that at the same time, the capacity to assert social and political control over the individual will vastly increase. It will soon be possible to assert almost continuous control over every citizen and to maintain up-to-date files containing even the most personal details about health and personal behavior of every citizen, in addition to the more customary data. These files will be subject to instantaneous retrieval by the authorities. Power will gravitate into the hands of those who control this information. And I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that more and more information is now being developed about you and I, and is accessible, although somewhat difficult, by our government or under nefarious individuals. we are losing our identity as individuals and merging into the global whole. But it gets worse.